Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Jason Syers, and I'm the Director of Economic Growth and Regeneration. Pretty anonymous title, but I'm broadly responsible for all those different areas within the City Council. So I'm kind of the delivery arm of what the local authority does and how we prioritise for economic growth within the local authority. I'm relatively new to Lancaster. I've been in post for 8 months, so I'm still getting to know the place. I've moved down from Dumfries and Galloway, so a very pretty part of southwest Scotland, but this is equally a pretty part of northwest England. So I've seen, since I've been here, huge amounts of opportunity. In fact, that's all I can see, lots of opportunities. I think we have to work hard to realise some of our ambitions, but we are very definitely ambitious at the local authority. All of those things that you see there, planning, economic development, business and skills, which is probably what a lot of you will be familiar with, and regeneration, property investment, all of those things within the local authority are key levers which the local authority use to stimulate economic growth, economic development and business opportunities. So what are we working on? Well, we're working on quite a lot. Our key priorities, obviously, focusing in around the opportunity to bring home Eden as a key prospect for Morecambe Town Centre and the wider district. But we're also working on a lot of other things as well. So Lancaster City Centre is a key focus for us. You know, what I've seen across the two main urban centres in Morecambe and Lancaster is the very rich cultural heritage. We've got some fantastic built fabric in Lancaster, and actually we've got some fantastic built fabric in Morecambe. And we need to leverage that quality, that built environment quality, because actually it's up there with the very best of the UK. You know, I spend a lot of time working up and down the UK, and I've seen a lot of places, worked in a lot of places on a lot of projects. And Lancaster and Morecambe are probably right up there amongst the very best of uninterrupted heritage fabric in the UK, if not the world. You know, we should be stood on a world stage. People should be looking to Lancaster as a key city in the UK, not just in the northwest. And important also, I think, we don't make enough of our status as the county town in Lancashire. We are the county town of the county, and we don't make enough of it, I think, and that's because maybe some other cities have stolen our clothes with that regard, but we're going to take them back, and we are going to shout about that loudly. We heard the comments of the Queen's Castle in the previous panel discussion. That's all wrapped up in part of the steeped in history of the city and the wider district. We need to make more about it, because that's actually what attracts visitors into the district, particularly visitors from the US, visitors from Europe. They want to know about our history. That's why people visit places. So a couple of the things that we have been shouting loudly about of late are the work that we're doing to assist with getting the Eden project over the line. And we have been successful moving to the second stage of the Future High Streets Fund, which is a £25 million fund which will be made available by government. Now, with that £25 million, you know, we're looking to lever in maybe 2 or 3 times that amount. So the reality of that is that we could be looking at £75–80 million worth of real investment into Morecambe. And that doesn't include Eden, nor does it depend on Eden being delivered as a project. So we're working very hard to align both of those projects together so that we can maximise the economic impact on the town, but not just on the high streets, because the title is a little bit of a misnomer. Future High Streets, I think by the government's own admission, they're looking to have an impact right across the town, and that's what we're looking to do. So we're looking at the town-wide focus. We're looking at getting better linkages from the promenade back into the town. We're looking at improving the arrival experience, because it's very dominated by heavy infrastructure, and improve the quality of the space and place, lifting the image of the town from the perceived image that lots of people have about tired coastal towns. I don't think Morecambe has that physical image anymore, but that's to us inside the district. I think we have to sell, there's a big sell on selling the improved quality and the investment that we've already put into sea defences, improving the quality of the space along the promenade. All of those things we've already delivered, but we're looking to expand on a lot of that work and improve the place. And then integrate all of that with the improvements that Eden will bring so that we knit the two projects together. So the potential for maximising the physical improvements is huge. Then in Lancaster, we're focusing in on the Canal Quarter, a very important part of the city centre. It's a very significant conservation and heritage area. Lots of opportunities, and we're looking to focus in on all of those different priorities. And again, it focuses in on improving the economic dynamics of the city. We've actually got quite a vibrant city centre in Lancaster. We've got lots of people every day. When I go out there, there's lots of people on the streets. You know, that isn't the case with a lot of other places in the UK. We've heard about the demise of town and city centres. Well, I don't think we've got that here. We've got a little bit of internal resilience by nature of our geography. And I think what we need to be doing is improving the quality. We heard a little bit about that from the panel discussion, people feeling that we're at the beginning of a cycle rather than at the other end, and I think that's very much where we are. It's about making the markets, creating the right opportunities for the right developments to come along. We certainly need better quality serviced bed spaces in the city and the wider district. And that's something that we are going to be focusing on as part of the Canal Quarter project. So I thought I'd break up my little bit, because you don't want to hear me droning on for 20 minutes or so, and provide you with a bit of an overview of some footage of exactly what I'm talking about. You know, the physical built fabric of this city is very much intact. It's an intact piece of urban fabric. It's gone a bit wobbly. And it's something that we need to shout more about. You know, we can build value off the back of this from the bottom up, showing, you know, we showed this to people who are visiting from abroad, from Europe. They go in and they visit Manchester, they visit Liverpool, and they don't come here. But they would if we told them about it. So that's very much on the top of our agenda, is building value off the back of our conservation and heritage fabric. We've got the Heysham Gateway. Again, this is a huge opportunity to grow local businesses. The location of the geography, we're very close to Manchester, 45, 50 minutes away, probably an hour and 15 from Liverpool City region. We're probably an hour and 15 away from the Leeds City region. We're probably 2 hours and a bit away from the Scottish Central Belt. That's a massive population catchment that we're not making the best advantage of. Heysham Gateway will offer a huge opportunity for us to grow local businesses, grow inward investment, maximise the attraction of internal investment off the back of what will be a world-class master plan. What we're looking to do here is not create the usual environment of white tin sheds. This will actually harness the very rural nature of the site and look to encapsulate that within a broad master plan that will be very environmentally focused, looking at utilising our natural heritage as well as improving our industrial built heritage. So this will be a mixed-use industrial part of the district where we're looking to attract world-class businesses, but also build world-class businesses from within. One of our other opportunities is housing growth, looking in South Lancaster, around the Bale Rig area, which is pretty much where the university is located now. And what we want to do with this is make a step change in the quality of housing development here. We heard from Erica, the leader of the City Council, in her opening remarks, talk about the climate change emergency that the Council has declared. And that is a key part of what we're going to be focusing on all of those different opportunities that I've already talked about, but particularly here. Here is an opportunity to actually make a step change in the quality of how we develop housing through much more sustainable urbanism and through integrating a whole series of communities, not just housing, but mixed uses, and integrating the university at the heart of that. This will be a series of interconnected communities that will connect back into the city centre. This is what pretty much happens all over the UK at the moment. This is how we build houses. So people who are on the edge where growth is planned for, and they say, you know, we're not moving, we're just waiting for the urban sprawl to come to us, and we get swallowed up by it. And that's what we've been doing for the last 40 or 50 years. Building urban sprawl, mediocre housing design, but people can't opt out of it because that's all volume house builders provide. And that's because we have a system that perpetuates that kind of numbers-driven growth. But we're not going to do that here. So I like to use this diagram a lot. This is something that was developed by Leon Creer, who master planned Poundbury down in Dorchester. And when they were going through the very early design stages, there was lots of conversation about how do you articulate urban growth? How do you articulate how you get something which is much more sustainable? And you can see that the top part of that animation there shows you a mature city. And on the outskirts, you've got literally the rural edge. And the middle diagram shows you how we've been developing since probably the end of the Second World War. But it's proliferated, certainly during the 80s, the 90s, the noughties, and it's continuing today, is we simply just keep developing further and further and further and further out. And all the difficult sites that I thought, when I started my career, couldn't be developed, have now pretty much all been developed. Some of them on floodplain, with obvious consequences of climate change. And we need to stop, because it's unsustainable. If we carry on developing at that rate, we will need 3 planets in order to perpetuate that kind of development across the globe. And believe me, this doesn't just happen in the UK, it happens in America, it happens in Europe. So we need to plan our resources much more sustainably. So the bottom diagram shows you the ideal way of being able to optimise development opportunity, looking at the mature city and then looking at how you develop. And it's literally through duplication, looking at the character of place, looking at how you maximise sustainable design and minimise the need to travel by car, maximising opportunities around walkable neighbourhoods. So being able to maximise local services within a 5-minute walk. This diagram is split into two halves. So the top right-hand side of that diagram gives you a diagrammatic version of what I've just been talking about. So cul-de-sac design of houses, then we've separated out apartments, we've moved the school to the edge of neighbourhoods, and then we've got shopping mall out on the fringes, away from the centre. And what that's done is it's taken away all the key ingredients of settlement and split them up. So if you can imagine a pizza, it's a bit weird, isn't it? It's comparing a town or a place to a pizza. But if you imagine a pizza, and that was a pizza, that's taking the onions, the cheese, the anchovies, and whatever else, and putting them on separate plates, and then being left with a dough in the middle. Whereas the bottom part of that diagram is very much about integration, about traditional urbanism, about designing places which are integrated, connected, and that optimise space. So anybody that lives in that little row of, that connected grid of houses in there can actually walk and reach shopping facilities, the school, all within a 5-minute walk. And it's amazing how many houses you can actually fit within that type of design. So the aspiration around Bailrig is going to be much less about this, which is the usual standardisation of volume house build, and much more about this, about quality of design, quality of place, quality of space, and integration. This is a huge opportunity for Lancaster to lead the way on an international scale about taking the principles of the Garden Village and weaving it into something which can tangibly address climate change, can actually probably almost eliminate flooding events that happen out on that side of the city through sustainable and integrated engineering solutions and natural design solutions around flood mitigation, so that you manage the water in a strategic way rather than simply planning for flood events year on year. So real opportunity to integrate the natural environment, as I was talking about around the Heysham Gateway, into a whole series of connected communities and building value off the back of that. And there are lots and lots of opportunities for us to start to address the real issues of climate change with housing and developing Code 6 housing, carbon zero, carbon neutral houses in the future in Lancaster, which will be a step change nationally, because it's perceived that actually these are quite expensive to do, but that's because we tend to develop them in small numbers, 15, 20 units, 30 units. Here, there's an opportunity to do that at neighbourhood scale, so 3, 4, 500 units in phases, and actually start to deliver the environmental aspects of this before we actually build houses. So lots and lots of opportunities in which over the coming years we're going to see Lancaster take much more of a national stage. We've already got recognition for a lot of the work that we've been doing around our local plans. We've won national awards for the area of outstanding natural beauty at Arnside and Silverdale. That's a development plan that pretty much most of the planning profession is looking to as an exemplar, so that they would replicate that kind of approach with their own plans elsewhere in the UK. So we're already moving in that direction. And we need lots more of this. You know, we don't do this kind of stuff anywhere anymore in the UK. When was the last time that somebody built a monument like that anywhere in the UK? Recently, in the last 20, 30 years? I can't think of anywhere. But these are the things that, as local residents, people go to and value and recognise, and that visitors come to see and value and recognise. These things have a massive inherent value to the district. The quality of our architecture is second to none. And this is certainly amongst the best in the country. So, lots of opportunities. I'm quite excited by it. I've only been here 8 months, and I think it's fantastic.